we pull you back out by the rope.
And Lena kind of offers rope, and Diana, could you? You're better with knots than I am,
Yeah.
I think. I don't want it to come loose.
Yeah, I'll get that.
My life is in your hands. He gives you like
Totally
a
Winston's.
wavering grin, like.
And Susanna will hand him her gold pocket watch.
He will take it gently.
I need not say, do not lose that. Particularly in a room full of magical.
I mean, it will be the
Also,
last
don't
thing
trip
I
over
say
the bones I
besides
threw in
myself.
there.
First of all, since I wasn't here, describe to me what this room is like. There's fog. There's several doors.
So it's
That's
kind of rectangular. As you've kind of walked in from the corridor behind you has kind of swirled into darkness. With ahead of you, there are 3 doors. There is one with a tree symbol kind of carved into the wood, one with a flower symbol carved into the wood, and one with a rock. And I believe we are currently going for the flower door after having opened the door to the tree door and it been full of fog. Ditto for the flower door.
So Vias is walking into the flower door that has a fog.
Yes.
yeah.
Both of them so far, when you've opened the door, there's just kind of fog swirling beyond the door frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Obviously, Lena,
sleight of
is
hand
it
for that
okay?
rope.
Yeah, can do. I mean, it's a pretty low DC, but go for it.
Don't fuck up.
Could Vias do a check to see if he knows where these are leading?
Yeah, that's fine. You're absolutely positive. Diana's
It's
absolutely
secure.
positive that not as secure as it's going to be. Sorry, what did you say, Ren?
Would Vias be able to do a check to figure out if he knows where, like, not where these lead, but if they resemble something he knows, like a magical type of?
I would say if you want to see if you recognize the magic, you could make an Arcana check.
Okay. Nope.
Well, he's at that Downa. Could you give me that other watch, please?
Yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you.
this is not something you've ever seen before, but Vias is pretty sure it's magical. In fact, there's so much magic you can't separate one bit of magic from the other.
Yep,
That's fun.
Okay. Well, he's going to make sure that give that rope a little tug. Probably send Mercy to stand on Diona's shoulder.
Yeah.
And
Diana kind of wraps the rope around her hands, giving you enough leeway, but basically, so that as soon as Susanna gives the call, she can tug.
Yep.
Okay, the watches are in sync. For now, at least.
As you're stepping forward, Lena's going to be like, yeah, just don't take any chances. Be careful.
Will do. And
okay,
don't get into trouble while I'm not here.
It'll be 30 seconds. What trouble could we possibly get into in 30 seconds?
Please don't tempt fate, Susanna.
I don't get it.
Yes, Susanna, the fates all.
Not in here.
I'd say fate's been pretty well tempted already.
Don't worry, the fates are usually on my side. It's only when they're not that it's unusual. And he will go through the...
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
He goes through.
Now, when he goes in, is there still the same amount of tension on the rope as there should be?
There is, yes.
Okay.
And for everybody still stood in the room, you literally kind of see Ren kind of clutching at the rope at his waist, kind of step into the doorway and kind of just disappear into the fog as if he were walking into kind of a vertical pool of water. It kind of swirls a little bit and then settles down, and all that there is the rope disappearing into the fog. As Ren steps through the door,
Right.
as Vias steps through the door. Oh God, my brain,
You're
seriously.
fine.
Yeah, because I think Ren might be in more trouble.
Vias
Well,
gonna
to be honest,
die.
Vias isn't in too much trouble. As Vias steps through the door, the first thing you notice is there's a kind of overwhelming scent of flowers. And you can smell that before you exit the fog. And eventually, as you kind of take 4 or 5 steps through the fog, it clears. And there is just kind of this massive field of wildflowers ahead of you. It's an enormous meadow. It stretches as far as the eye can see. There are flowers of all different colours. It kind of comes up to about maybe knee height on you. And it's just a riot of colours. The sky is blue, the sun is shining. There's a faint breeze making all the flowers ripple.
A field of wildflowers. When he's looking around, does it look like there's anything else aside from these flowers?
Sorry, say again.
Well, he's looking around. Is there any way to tell if there's anything besides the flowers?
As he glances all the way around, there's nothing ahead or to either side apart from flowers.
Nothing
And as
that
he
looks
kind of turns
dangerous.
to glance back, you can see the rope kind of going out, maybe 2 or 3 feet behind you, and disappearing into kind of the fog. But the fog is a lot fainter here than it was.
Okay. Can he bend down and examine one of the flowers? Like pick it up,
Yep.
see if it's natural, like pluck it?
Make me a nature check.
Okay. Let's see, what's your nature? Nothing. 8.
Oh, Bias.
It feels and it smells and it looks kind of like a real flower.
It. There's really nothing in
30 seconds, question mark?
I would
Just
say
flowers?
by now.
Question mark. Okay.
There's no.
Dana's watching Susanna for the call for 30 seconds, and as soon
Yeah.
as
What time
Susanna
is
gives
it?
the nod,
I would say at this
Dana's
point,
pulling.
probably coming up on 30 seconds on the group side of things.
I
No,
hate
that's not great.
I hate
So,
everything about the way you just phrased that,
Bias
but
looks at the pocket watch. What time is it?
It only shows about 15 seconds for Vias.
I'm gonna have a stroke. Susanna will give Diona the nod as soon as 30 seconds passes and be like, pull.
Yeah, Dana's just gonna brace her feet and pull back.
Go for it. Vias, are you resisting the pull of the rope, or are you going with it when you feel it tug?
Probably go with it, considering he doesn't know why it's 15 seconds instead of 30, or why they're pulling it.
So it kind of, you stumble, but you kind of keep your balance and follow the pull of the rope back through the fog. And yeah, Vias stumbles back out, and were you still holding the flower?
Yeah.
Yeah, the flower doesn't come back through with you. As you look down, there's nothing in your hand anymore as you step through the door.
Thank goodness you're alive. Give me my watch.
Gives it back to her.
Are the times the same?
No, the one that Vias had is about 10 seconds slow.
Oh my goodness.
But isn't that the magic one? So
Okay.
shouldn't it be the one that shows true time?
Its magic power is not to have a perfect time. Its magic power is to give Susanna back.
Heuristics.
Like,
Okay.
nothing about the timekeeping device itself is what makes it magical.
Okay, I was for some reason thinking that the part of the effect of the clockwork amulet was to keep true time.
No, technically the clockwork amulet isn't supposed to be a pocket watch at all. I just skinned it as such.
Fair.
In any case, Susanna will freak out.
I mean,
Okay, 10 seconds. You lost 10 seconds. We lost 10 seconds. I'm not really sure. 10 seconds somehow went missing, and now my watches are out of sync.
Talia
Can you
looks
fix that?
nonplussed.
I mean, to be blunt, honest, so does Lena.
My watches are not ever out of sync.
Can you fix it?
Of
Susanna?
course I can fix it, but the point lies in that messed with my watches, so that messes with time, which means that's not my favorite piece of this temple at the moment. I'm
So-
sorry for my
I'm the
outburst. That
one
was very
going in
rude.
the doors, so maybe I'll go through the next one. He's going to go to the tree door.
So hang on, wait. So time was moving slower through there than it was here, or faster?
Slower.
Slower because he was
Okay.
behind. He was
So
So
I
if we
kind of-
do go in, we
I-
need to have someone out here with one of the watches, so that we don't overtime for
Vias,
escaping.
what did you see through there?
Just a few of the flowers. They didn't seem mad. I mean, the place was magical, but the flowers
So
seemed
just-
normal,
just-
like a normal field of wildflowers,
I mean,
and nothing else.
it can't. So what? This is a portal, or
I would
Some sort
assume so.
magic effect?
I
or-
don't think so, because the rope was still.
Well, would a rope just carry on through? Portals aren't my thing.
It might be another dimension. I don't know. An illusionary room?
I mean, I gotta say, I'm a little creeped out by all of this.
okay. So this actually makes a lot of sense, though. It makes perfect sense. Time went slower in there. Time moves slower for everyone that is frozen. That's why they haven't starved after being in here after all this time. That's what the temple does, is it slows you down in different places in different times. So these people, she gestures to the door back towards where certainly there are some people, like they are all the way slowed down to a certain extent, so they're not starving. And in this room, you were slowed down to a certain extent, which means maybe if you stay in there, you would slow all the way down faster than you would out here. Or maybe it's all just terrible. I don't know. It made sense for a second.
No. I think you might be onto something there. This whole place, time, which might explain the undead that we keep coming across as well. I mean,
I'm not sure how that explains the undead, but I'm glad you have found some logic in it.
Please tell me I'm not the only one that thinks we should just find Dylan and then just set fire to this whole damn place.
I mean,
Oh, I certainly agree with that.
I would very
Okay.
much like to save the people in here. That's something I think anyone with a semblance of life or death
I think
duty
the
towards would feel.
We are able to.
I mean, I won't endanger you people for their lives. That's not something I'd be willing to do. But if we can find the key to what's messing with this and Dylan, that would be the best option.
I'm not sure we should try another door, because it was slowing you down. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's going in there made whatever makes this place slow down.
Vias holds up a finger and he says, "Give me 5 seconds. You can time me out here and pull me back. 5 seconds, I will look inside, and then I will come back out. Tug on the rope. 5 seconds."
You can't hardly do
Okay.
anything in 5 seconds, so I've counted.
It moves slower in there. It'll
So-
be fine.
It was about 10 seconds behind when you came back, so 5 seconds for you. Oh, good grief. This is terrible. I don't like this very much. Are you going to go in again?
Yes.
Okay, let me
somebody
reset
needs
this
to. We
watch.
need to figure this out. I mean,
Okay, so
there's a lot to do.
which door? Close the flower door and go into another one, or are you going back in the flower door?
I'm going to go to tree.
You can't run?
The tree door.
Okay.
Okay.
Susanna resyncs her pocket watch to her wristwatch and then hands the pocket watch back to
Now,
Keep it here.
before
I think
he
it
goes
is.
back in, does there seem to be any unexpected wear on the rope?
There does not.
Okay. I just wanted to verify before we sent him back in, because that's also informative.
Okay.
So are you? How about Vias will make you keep the magical pocket watch.
You cut out again.
Vias will make you keep the magical pocket watch. And take the other one. That's the one you care about.
I would really, really prefer you take the one I'm offering you.
He'll take it.
I'd rather my wristwatch not go into whatever that place is.
Fair enough. Okay. And he will go to the tree door and enter.
So you're going for the tree door, you said?
Yes.
Okie doke. So as you step through the door, it's as it was with the last one. There's several steps of cold, damp, grey fog before you step out into kind of dappled light of a small clearing in what looks like a fairly large forest. The clearing itself is maybe kind of 10 feet across in front of you before it is kind of broken up with trees. The ground underfoot is kind of springy with moss. You can hear kind of birds cheeping in the distance, and it kind of feels slightly cool under the shade of the trees. You can't feel any wind.
Is there any other creatures or things inside of this?
The only thing you can hear is birds. You cannot see anything in your immediate vicinity.
Sorry, I'm gonna look and see. Does it have anything? What the fuck
I would say
is
at this
this?
point, by the time you've kind of stepped through and looked around, having given Susanna a request of 5 seconds, the rope will be tugging at your waist at this point.
He
Yeah.
will go with the rope. Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
you
I
heading
think
west?
Ren's connection died.
God damn it! Did it?
Oh,
No,
I
you're
do
good.
that then.
No. Yeah.
You've
he
been
goes
very
with the rope.
spotty, though.
It's
It
because
keeps clicking in and
the
out.
internet out here is awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so as soon as Susanna gives the nod for 5 seconds, Dan is going to pull back.
Yeah, Vias goes with willingly. What does the pocket watch say when he's in that room?
The pocket watch is kind of comparatively probably only like 3/4. So it was 10 seconds before. It's a little bit behind. You can kind of notice that the second hands are ticking slightly differently around. But it's probably only a second or two different this time.
Okay, less
If
of a
that.
distortion.
It's kind of a slight delay between one ticking and the next.
Okay.
So they're out of sync, but not as much as they were on the other door.
But also, it was a much shorter time.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay, so the longer you stay in there, the more the watches get out of sync, which is distressing.
And fairly consistent with the rest of this temple, apparently.
Indeed. At least
It's
it makes
obvious-
some kind of sense.
It's obviously
Vias
some
kind
sort
of
of
has
magic.
like a frustrated look on his face. He says, "There's nothing special about these places. Nothing out of place. They're just weird places of. This one was just like a forest with a clearing, just trees. There's no. I could hear birds chirping, but I couldn't see anything. It's almost like an illusion of a place that's extremely real. I tried to bring a flower along from that other place, the central one, and it didn't come back, so it's not real or can't be moved from that place. I really don't know what these are supposed to accomplish."
Well, now that strikes another question, though, because Telly, you dropped something into the mist in the first door. The second door, the first door, the first door that Vias went into. You dropped a bone, possibly. I'm not sure what you dropped. I don't.
2 of them.
Two bones. Did you see those at all? Did you feel those at all? Did you kick those at all?
I mean, I didn't know that you guys did that. So did Vias see that, Amy?
He stood on something that might have been a bone. He probably would have assumed it was a twig or
I
something
mean-
similar, but that it was uneven underfoot as he stepped through into the flower meadow. Yes.
I mean, I couldn't tell, but I stood on something that cracked. Other than that, I don't know. I would assume it made it through.
Well, we got one more door.
Let's try 10 seconds. See what that distortion's like.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And Vias will wait for her to fix the sink on the watches and go to the rock door and open it. And
Okie doke. And it's the same again as he steps through. It's kind of cold and damp and foggy for like 3 or 4 steps. And then it still kind of stays cold and damp as it opens up into some sort of underground cavern. There are kind of stalagmites, stalactites. The walls are rock, the floor is rock, the ceiling is rock, kind of maybe 15, 20 feet above you. It stretches into the darkness a good kind of 45, 50 feet. And you can kind of hear water dripping
can Vias
somewhere off in the distance.
Can Vias cast light on his staff?
You can try.
He will do
Oh,
that.
I never liked that.
I'm gonna see, because I have a hinkling about what this is.
Okay. As Vias kind of concentrates and tries to cast light, it takes several long kind of heartbeats before it kind of sputters into existence. But it's kind of dim. And it's kind of sapping more of his strength than he would expect it to, and it's not putting out as much light as he would expect it to. And around about at that point, you can feel a tugging at your waist on the rope.
Is that before he gets pulled in? Is there anything he sees with the light then that would have otherwise not been?
It doesn't really kind of illuminate too much of the cavern around beyond. To be fair, the cavern is kind of partially illuminated by kind of bioluminescence anyway, and the light spell that he manages to cast doesn't really kind of give any more light than the bioluminescence around does.
And the time on the watch.
Sorry, say again.
The time on the watch?
Is 9 seconds.
Okay. Interesting. So he goes willingly.
So it is a second less than you would expect.
Cool.
Well, that's weird. I don't fucking know what any of it means, though. What are we supposed to do here?
Well, it seems like the tree has the least distortion.
He spent the least amount of time in the tree.
True.
Well, sometimes when time gets weird like that, it works on a multiplying factor where the longer you spend in the weird time place, the more the change will be, so it makes sense.
Okay. That is good to know. That's very good to know.
Sorry if it didn't make sense.
No, it makes sense. Do we want to explore one? Do we want to send someone in to explore one of them more further?
I mean, we could.
I do have Mercy, and she's fairly keen on seeing things that I don't. But I do warn you, magic doesn't work very well. At least not in
Oh, magic
that-
doesn't
that-
work. That's
that
lovely.
rock area, it took longer to cast, and it was harder to. I don't know if the
It
same
works,
is with
but
the
not
other
very
ones.
well.
Which means we probably don't want to send Mercy because
Yeah.
she is a construct of magic.
Mm. Also,
Okay, how about
question,
this?
Did we get a short rest before we came back in?
We did not.
We did not.
Nope.
No,
We
we
just
just
were like, fuck this, and walked in.
Yep, because we're stupid.
Ah, you guys are stupid.
I mean, I had asked if we wanted to do a short rest, but general consensus was no, so
the advice
Yeah,
is
because
here
we're
to be like short rest, motherfuckers. Oh well. Because now
Here's
he
an
doesn't have
idea.
his wild shapes. He has one.
Is a terrible
And
idea,
one
but again,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think just one person should go in for any longer than the 30 seconds. Frankly, I don't think anybody should go in for just longer than the 30 seconds, but I don't think you're going to get much exploring of these places done in 30 seconds. So say we send a pair, a buddy system 2 in for, I don't know, magic number 2 minutes. Let's try that and see. And then there's at least 2 of them in there.
do we all have ropes? Is there?
But there's rope enough
We
among
all have. Most of us have
Perhaps.
rope.
If we all have,
yeah, and I can attach a rope to each of you and pull.
if we have,
Unless,
either
Lena,
one
you want to
person-
do some of the pulling back and
Well,
I go in case there's something waiting.
What I was going to suggest is that one person stay out, and then we have either 2 people on a rope on each door, and see how their experiences differ at the same time from this side.
We can only open one door at a time.
Yeah.
Well, that was not explained. Okay.
We did actually tell you that.
I thought it was like we only open one door. Never mind.
No, we can
No, you
only
can
open one door.
physically
We
only
did tell you
open
that.
one door at a time.
Okay.
Damn it.
I
don't know what to do. Break them.
also, Vice, you've been in like several times, and maybe it's better to rotate, switch it up, so you're not going in continuously.
My body's fine.
Okay.
I mean, what did you see? I mean, did you see anything dangerous in any of them, Vias?
No, there was absolutely nothing but the places.
So, I mean, we could send 1 or 2 people in on a rope to explore a little further. Just pick one, I suppose.
I mean, that's
Again,
fine.
I'm pretty quick.
Do as you wish.
So we send what, Vias and Talia in
I don't
on a
think
rope
that's
each.
a good idea.
I don't know if there's anything actually here, though, for us. If this is sort of what's going on, and we're more focused on Dylan. If Vias didn't see Dylan instantly, do we want to go to another?
I mean, I honestly agree. I didn't see anything here, no sign of people, no. If Dylan was there, he would be just there. I mean, he might have been wandering, but it really didn't seem like there was much place to wander unless you were in the meadow or in that grove of trees, but that was it.
Dylan seems the sort to wander and get lost in a meadow full of flowers.
Possibly, but I think I would have seen him somewhere off in the distance, possibly.
Maybe he was taking a nap.
Well, do we want to disregard this passage and head elsewhere? Or do we want to try and finish this for sake of...
Well, the thing is, we don't know where to start aside from investigating, and that takes more time. There was something on the other passages on the other side. There was something over there that I did not see, especially by that door. Mercy didn't see anything, but it felt odd to have a passage with nothing in it. there's that option, and then there's some area over to the left. I didn't get a good look. We could start and look there, and if he's anywhere in those 2 rooms, maybe. And then we can come back to this if there's nothing else. Because we don't know where to start with this aside from poking at it. And I honestly feel more safe wandering it.
So we head back to the balcony and pick another passage. Yes?
I mean, that'll work.
Sure.
I just don't know where to start here.
Okie doke. You're kind of cutting your man out a bit, Ren, as well. So I'm kind of
I'm sorry.
assuming that's what you were saying.
Yes, that
Leader
was.
to paraphrase.
Yes.
Okay, who's heading back down the passage first?
Susanna.
Okie doke.
Also Clancy, because she's not letting Clancy stray more than a few feet away from.
So as kind of Susanna and Clancy lead the way down the passage, you head down the passage, Susanna, and you would expect for kind of it to last a matter of seconds before you were out in the balcony, except it doesn't. It lasts, and you're walking down the corridor for kind of before you kind of step out into what you assume is the balcony open space, except it isn't. It's another chamber with 3 doors ahead of you. One marked with a tree, one marked with a flower, one marked with a rock.
Fuck. No wonder
Vice,
why
down
Mercy-
Natalia. Lena, someone, Vera.
No wonder why
Oh,
Mercy
fuck.
I should have
Oh
known
my
it wasn't
god.
going to be
Oh
that
my
easy.
gosh.
Oh, wow.
No wonder why Mercy had a fucking headache when she went and tried
Oh
to
my
come
god.
in here.
Oh my god.
Talia turns back around and looks back where they just came.
Susanna starts
And
to fan herself.
you can just see the corridor behind you disappearing into fog.
Shoot, 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 shoot.
I think you guys watch Vias, like, his eyes start to crackle with that weird stringy white energy, and he raises his staff and he says, "You will free us, damn you."
Okay.
Can everyone just calm down a minute, please?
I have never calmed down a day in my life, and I do not intend to start now. Susanna, for simplicity's sake.
Okay. This is Had. So we
Vias, like, angrily ties that rope back onto himself. I'm pretty sure he didn't remove it, but he tugs on it, and he just looks very angry. He's not in that form, but he's very angry.
So we need to well, going back doesn't work. Seems like whatever this is wants us to go forwards.
What is the order of the doors again?
Tree, flower,
so
rock.
Tree on the left, flower in the middle, rock on the right.
Okay, I wrote it down correctly. Good, okay. Vias is gonna point to Tree and say, "Somebody wants to come with me. We need to go. Let's start here and we'll look. And we'll tug when we're ready."
I would say we operate a 2-minute time limit on this end. And
that works.
then we tug on the rope. And then it's 2 minutes on this end no matter what it seems on your end, and you should come back.
Vias will pull out his 50-foot rope and hand it to whoever's.
Why even bother with the time period at this point? We're kind of stuck here anyway, so...
You think we should just pick one? But we don't know where they go. We don't know if it's a portal to another place, or if it's some sort of illusion, or if it's this entire goddamn place messing with our heads.
I mean, at this point, I wonder if we're not being overly cautious. That if the best way to just get this done is to get it in, get it out.
I suppose.
I want to figure out
Probably I'm
what's
being
going
overly
on, and
cautious.
I want to leave.
Force of
I didn't
habit, I
want to
think.
come into this passage to begin with.
No, I get it, but at this point, like, there's a point where you can be as cautious as you want about whether or not you're going to get screwed over by some fae, but at some point when you're standing in their court, there's not really much you can do besides just go and make a Hail Mary for it.
Point.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. We could tie the rope to the door handle. At least that's that way if something goes wrong there, we have a way back. Stick together, I suppose. Strength in numbers and all that.
What about, Susanna?
Susanna, are you coming with us, or are you...
Susanna's on the ground and
Susanna
unconscious
has,
and
has
fainted.
passed out on the ground.
Oh, right.
That's
Y'all
why
know
I missed that bit.
her smelling salts are in her pocket. You've seen her taking it out enough times that you could probably work out.
I mean, we could carry her, or...
Vias will probably try and find her smelling salts and wake her up.
Smelling salts killed my connection.
Vias will try and find her some smelling salts. Jesus Christ.
Okie doke. I would say, I'm really tempted to make you roll an investigation check, but no, I'm not that cruel.
Investigation is bad.
I would say that having seen Susanna reach for the smelling salts on a semi-regular basis, you're reasonably sure which pocket to go for.
Sticks around.
Is there a chance of him finding the wrong pocket?
Yeah, I mean, she's got two outer pockets, and one of them has items that are not the smelling salts, and one of them has the smelling salts.
Oh god, make an investigation check, seriously.
Let's see how that goes. 5.
So he doesn't find the smelling salts. What does he find?
You reach in and you pull out a clockwork beetle and also a hand. A clockwork hand.
I'd forgotten about the hand.
He gives a soft snort. He will try other pockets and put them back.
I would say, having tried the wrong pocket, you probably have more success on the second attempt.
Yeah.
And find a little kind of glass vial full of smelling salts.
He will waft that under her nose.
She will wake up.
Because they stink to high heaven.
Yep. Good morning.
Rise and shine. We're gonna get the hell out of this place.
Oh.
Okay, so...
Okay.
Which door are we going for, folks?
Okay.
The first one,
I
the
don't mind.
tree.
We go for the tree door.
I don't know how
Tree
many
door.
of us wants to go through, but...
I mean, if we tie it to the door handle, that gives us a way back if things go wrong. Otherwise, I think we're probably better off sticking together.
Okay. Well, let's do that then.
This is a mistake. Oh, you've missed a lot.
You missed Susanna fainting.
We are trapped here, and Susanna fainted. And then
I did not want to go in this room. I literally, when Mercy came back with that headache, I was like, we are not going in that room, and you fuckers went there without me!
I'm so sorry that we were not aware of every aspect of your strategy, but we're idiots, okay?
Literally, when we came up here, Vias
Can
was like,
someone
don't go
please
in
give
there.
me a rundown on what the fuck?
Okay,
we
so
tried
we
to
turned
leave.
around
Susanna-
and tried to go back to the upper balcony, but when we walked away, we walked down the corridor for a few minutes and then just ended up back at the doors.
We're trapped in a loop
Because
with the door.
apparently Amy meant it when she said she was going to force us to solve puzzles.
Yep.
You
Actually, no,
bastard.
this was pre-written like this, and I'm so glad you went for this one because
Why
it's my
do you
favorite.
think Bias was like, don't go in there? Because Mercy came back with a headache and he was like, that's probably not a good place. Let's not go there.
You know what? I'm sorry. You weren't here. We made a decision. That's what happened. We just got to roll with
I
it.
was late and you fuckers screwed. We're stuck and we
That's
have to solve
how
a
it's gonna be.
puzzle.
We
This is
cannot
worse.
avoid making dumb decisions while people aren't
Bias
here
is
because
just
then we'd
gonna
never
attack
play.
the door. Just hit it with his staff real hard.
But anyway, we have woken Susanna up from her dead faint. The plan at the moment is to kind of tie everyone together with the rope, tie the rope around the door handle, and head in through the tree door.
I do have one question about that plan. What way does the door open?
Say again,
'Cause,
sorry.
What way does the door open? Does it open out or in?
It opens into the room that you are stood in.
So you're telling me that if we tie a rope to the end of it, there's the potential of accidentally pulling it closed
Yeah.
as we struggle for the rope.
I was thinking
Yep.
of that too. Accidentally closing ourselves in the room for ages.
Yeah, but at the moment, the people that are making this plan are Lena and Talia, and Lena is kind of in mental free fall. So
about-
Lena is not thinking straight.
And Talia's just kind of like, why even bother with the rope or the time at this point? Let's just fucking do it. Like, balls to the
Yep.
wall. Who cares?
How about we leave the rope on the floor, and then if we need to go out, we can just follow it from the ground, and we don't have to deal with the door opening or closing.
I
Just
mean,
leave it
I
laying.
was-
Okay.
To be
I
honest,
think
I was
that's
kind
the
of thinking you
smartest.
hook it around the door handle at the far side so that it then wraps around the edge of the door and the door shouldn't shut. But then I kind of figured Lena wouldn't be thinking that far ahead.
Important question. What time is it?
Oh lord, I don't know. Hang on, let me calculate.
We entered at 2:45. We entered the temple at 2:45. We made it up
It
to
was
the
3
high
o'clock
balcony.
it was 3 o'clock when you were at the upper level. It is probably about, by the time you've been faffing around, knocking the guy out and discussing, it's probably about kind of 3:30. It's no later than 3:30.
Okay.
So we're probably gonna want to get out soon anyway, because we've got like an hour?
Well, yeah, we're
Uh,
45 minutes in to our
I would
2-hour.
say, if you are wanting me to be specific, it is 3:25 p.m.
Thank you. You're such a dear.
I am pulling these numbers out of my ass.
Okay. Okay.
Because that
So-
is the point of DMing, you make it up as you go along.
Is there a reason we're picking the tree? Maybe we want the field of wildflowers. I'm not saying that's necessarily more pleasant than a forest, but that is what I'm saying. Just if we're gonna walk into one of these rooms and immediately say, I don't know, turn into
I
those
really don't
things, we might want a lovely place to live out the rest of our miserable lives.
I mean, the forest was nice, but
Wildflowers, anyone?
no.
I
No.
really don't mind which one we pick as long as we pick one.
I would just rather go through the tree. Let's just do that one, and he's going to start walking.
Honestly, Talia at this point is already, like, Talia
Yeah.
just kind of tugs on Diona's hand and just goes, looks at her and just, at this point, it's just, you gotta go. And, they
Yeah.
just go for the door
Yeah,
and head for
Bias
the
is
fog.
already there.
Yeah, Dona's gonna just kind of nod at the others, let them make the decision, and follow.
Vias brings part of the rope in, but leaves the other half laying on the ground.
Okay. Lena is following on right behind.
Cool.
So I
Mercy
believe that
comes with as
leaves
well.
Clancy,
Susanna,
Susanna,
Clancy,
Vera
and
behind.
Vera.
Yep.
I mean, I would say that Vera is not going to walk through until everybody else has done so.
I
She's
think
the sane one of the group.
Clancy is honestly pretty likely to just follow with what everybody else is doing, so that's what he's
Yep.
gonna do, what they're gonna do.
Agreed.
Awkward eye contact with Vera for a hot second. Wait, she's wearing her veil. She's gonna make awkward one-sided eye contact with Vera for a hot second.
I think at this point, with everybody else going through, Vera would probably be like, after you.
You know, that really one ought to let their elders go first.
I mean, Talia is like first at this point.
Yeah, we've already gone through, I bet.
I feel like. Oh,
I don't
goodness
know.
gracious.
I feel like Vera would probably not.
Is
I
not
think- I
going
think-
to let.
I think Vera would have a certain amount of I'm not going through and leaving anybody behind before she just rolls her eyes and leaves you to your own bad decisions.
Oh,
I
thank you.
could be
thank you.
wrong though. I could be wrong.
I mean, the other time that like Vera was like, okay, whatever, and went out before somebody followed Dylan, got lost in the temple. So I think maybe she's not going to let Susanna wait around, and after a certain amount of time, we'll say 14 seconds, Susanna will realize that and just follow her.
Okie doke. So with everybody, with Vera following through behind Susanna, you went for the tree door, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So you all kind of step through, and again, it's 2 or 3 steps through this kind of really heavy, dense, cold, damp fog before you step out into the cool of the shade beneath the trees. There's kind of 15, maybe 20 feet of clearing ahead of you before there are kind of scattered trees kind of ahead. It's kind of not really heavy, dense, overgrown forest, but it's distinctly kind of woody, foresty kind of area. There's
The storybook archetype of the mysterious forest.
It's kind of proper, Brothers Grimm fairy tale forest. There are clear paths, there's bits of grass. It's not overgrown, there's no kind of roots sticking up to trip you up and break ankles and things. There's no kind of rabbit holes that you can see in the area immediately ahead of you. It looks kind of storybook forest. Good descriptor.
At the edge of the forest, can Talia kind of check to look for, like, I don't know, footprints? Like, did Dylan come through? Like,
In the clearing that you're in, they can absolutely check for footprints. Make a survival check for me, please.
11.
There are no footprints at all whatsoever.
Not even Vias's?
Not even Vias's.
Hmm.
There are no signs of animal movement. There are no signs of human movement. There are, with Talia's experience, there are no signs of any sort of movement recently through the area that you are stood in. Despite the fact that you can hear a bird chirruping repeatedly in the background.
Is it literally the same pattern of chirps over and over again at the same, like, interval? Like,
Off an 11? Yes, it is.
bird's not real.
I don't think any of this is particularly real.
Can I go up to one of the trees and examine one of the trees, please?
You can. Make a nature check for me.
Vias is gonna see those paths you were talking about.
3!
It's woody. It's a tree.
Oh. I think Diona is gonna check as well, coming from a slightly different place, but from the.
Okay, what is Diona looking for specifically?
The solidness of the trees and the. Because admittedly, most of her experience is with worked wood, but there's a solidity to trees that should be this size. There's a.
Yeah, she kind of spends a few minutes kind of tapping on the trunk, listening to the noises that come back and kind of putting her hands on it and kind of feeling how the wood feels.
Yeah.
And it feels mostly right. There's just that little bit of something that feels quite slightly off, but with the tent, you can't quite put your finger on what that is.
But it makes sense, because if the bird call is false, then. But it's just verifying.
Can
Yeah.
Vias
Jesus
attempt?
Christ.
Can Vias attempt to imitate that bird sound?
Right.
If he had his beast speech activated, would that do anything for him figuring out what its pattern is? If it
What's he
means
trying to
anything?
discover? What's he trying to work out specifically?
He's trying to figure out if it has a pattern of any sort, like if it means anything.
Make me a nature check. Or even an arcana check, whichever's higher.
Arcana for him is higher. 15.
You kind of get the impression as you kind of concentrate, that it's some sort of recorded loop. Almost as if somebody sat there and magically listened to an area of forest and then just kind of took a snippet and repeated it magically. It's an audio loop,
Yeah, okay.
is what you get the impression is.
Can
I climb the tree, please?
Yep. It's climbable, it's solid.
You
I'd like to get up. I'd like to get up as far as I can and sort of perception check what can I see around me.
Go for it.
If
That's
that makes
another
sense.
question. That's another question.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, Diana has a fairly good scale for how high up a tree Talia can normally get. Does there reach a point where Talia starts to fade out or has to stop? Before would make sense for.
I mean, the tree is probably kind of. I'm trying to convert here from metric to imperial because I don't do tree heights in feet. I do them in meters. It's maybe 10 meters, which is about 30 feet, give or take. And you kind of, as you watch, Talia doesn't scramble all the way to the top, but they're kind of up in the upper branches, maybe 25 feet off the ground, and it looks pretty normal as you're watching, as you've had kind of seen Talia scramble up trees before. Talia, as they scramble up the tree and look out, it's kind of a patchy canopy. There are kind of bigger trees a little way away, maybe, I don't know, a few 100 feet away, that kind of block the view, but they can kind of see in and out of bits of canopy. The view looks pretty much what they would expect to see, looking out of a tree from this height in this type of woodland.
Can't
okay.
really see much beyond,
Susanna,
trees.
can Susanna go to the edge of the clearing?
Yep.
Just say, I don't know. Just take a random shot out into the distance. Hear if it hits anything at approximately the distance she expects it to, based on her vast knowledge of things in a woodland setting.
You can. Roll me an attack for that.
Okay.
Natural 1, Talia points the gun right in the air, shoots Talia.
Okie doke. As Susanna raises the pistol, fires into the distance, are you aiming at a tree, or are you picking kind of a gap between the trees?
I'm picking a gap between the trees to a certain distance, like a fair distance. If it hits a tree eventually, it's not going to hurt her
So
feelings.
you're kind of picking a distance of like 100 feet or more.
Right.
So you kind of fire that shot, and you're expecting to be able to count, a couple of seconds before it hits, as you would expect for kind of the speed that the bullet is moving and the distance to what the tree you're vaguely aiming at. Except there's a bang, and then there's a thunk about a second later. And you can kind of make me a perception check.
Oh dear goodness, one second.
Can I also spot where the fuck that came from?
Where my gun came from?
You can try in a moment. I want to see what.
No, the
Susanna-
thunk.
Okie doke. See, for all the bad rolling, Susanna's rolling very well.
That's just how she be.
As you kind of look along with the trajectory of where you expect that bullet to go, you kind of see it's almost as if the bullet has hit a pane of glass, and you can kind of see little fractures emanating out from the bullet impact that are glowing faintly with a yellow light.
Well,
Susanna's going to walk straight towards it. In fact, she's going to walk quite briskly.
I
Talia,
think Diana's gonna also walk towards it, because I think Diana's...
Talia, as you look round at the thunk noise, and you see Susanna starting to walk in a direction, you kind of look along that direction, you can see kind of those little, there's something kind of glowing faintly in the area that what they're walking towards.
Okay,
Susanna
I'd like
with
to.
Diona a distance behind.
I'd like to approach, but like still up in the treetops.
Vias will
Okey
also
doke.
follow.
I would say that the trees are probably close enough together at that point that you can move through the trees, but you're probably going to take a hit to your movement speed.
That's fine. I am the fastest motherfucker here.
I was
Yeah, it's most
say, yeah,
the movement speed is...
half speed, but even then you're probably going to be able to keep up reasonably easily.
That's still like 27, 30 feet.
Yeah,
speed.
exactly. So you're moving at the same speed as everybody is below you. I mean, Lena's going to be following on. I would say Vera will be kind of directing Clancy with a hand.
I think Diana is kind of going to wave Vias over, because Vias is currently the one who knows more about magic shit.
Yep.
So,
Vias will go.
basically, just to be clear, Diana's current plan is, if Vias gives the go-ahead to try and break this thing, she's going to see if she can...
He already has ideas.
Excuse you, Susanna's getting there first, and she has.
Vias has
Yeah,
the
but
shadow
she will need to
spell.
make more bullets. Isn't it better for her to let someone else break their hand trying to do this?
Does
That's wasting
Susanna
bullets
look
from
like
me
a
kind of-
rational bitch?
All right, children, let's examine this, eh?
Well,
Let's-
Susanna is at the front by a good kind of 10
Yeah.
feet or so of movement before everyone else. So as Susanna, as you approach, it looks like when you've hit safety glass with a bullet. There's kind of a bullseye mark with kind of fractures radiating out from it. And it's these fractures that are kind of glowing as if there's a light behind them. It's constant, it's not pulsing, but there is a light behind these fractures. And it's just kind of in the middle of the air.
I put
in
my
the
hand on the
forest.
light.
It's cool to the touch. It feels like you're touching maybe a stone wall or a glass wall or something like that.
What is
And the light looks as though something's shining through it.
Yeah, there are cracks. It's almost as if there are cracks kind of in the
And is her bullet
reality.
like
Her bullet is
lodged?
kind of, yes, you can see her bullet kind of lodged in these kind of cracks in midair.
She's going to reach into a pocket and pull out sort of a long, flat sort of tool and try to use that to pry the bullet out of this crack in the wall.
Takes a few seconds because it's kind of wedged in there, but with a little bit of kind of jiggling and poking, it kind of pings free after a few seconds of work.
Meanwhile, Talia Assassin's Creed their way to the same spot.
I think I found something.
What is it?
Take a look for yourself. It's right there.
You will examine.
Can Talia sort of reach out into the air above where this little fracture is?
They can.
In
I
line
think you
with
might
it,
need
but
to get
like
down to ground level.
20... No, like so, like
at tree level.
At tree level, above into the air, if that makes sense.
Make a perception check.
Trying to track if this wall like goes all the way up.
Yeah.
13.
It takes kind of a little while, and it's kind of a vague kind of system of waving their hand out over this area at one height and then moving it down and trying at the next height. And eventually they kind of figure that if they wave their hand kind of maybe 10 feet above where the bullet has hit, they can feel something that feels like a cool, stony, glassy surface. It's smooth, and they can't see anything, but there's definitely something solid to touch.
If I run my hand, like put my hand against it,
Mhm.
and go up, is there like a lip where it's sort of?
There isn't. It just kind of seems to suddenly stop, and as you kind of try to hook your fingers over the edge of it, there's nothing there.
If I was to reach my hand over and then down and then back to try to touch it, is that like a thing?
Weirdly, no. As you reach over and bring your hand back through where you know it was a few seconds ago, your hand just moves straight through it from the other side.
I report these findings down.
Can Vias examine the glow?
He can.
If there's
Question, how
anything on the
tall
other
is Susanna?
side, like
Suzanne is about 5'8" with the
Susanna
boots on.
is 5'8"
Okay.
in her heels.
Yep,
Okay.
that's the one.
So Lena's kind of stood behind Susanna, peering over her shoulder at this point. Vias can make a check. What exactly specifically is Vias looking?
he's trying to figure out if there's like, so it's this like weird pane of whatever, it's glowing, shattered at some point a little bit.
The
Is it,
light is
like-
coming through the cracks.
Is there anything inside the light? Like, is it a see-through thing? Like, if he were to put his finger where that bullet was, can he put his finger through to the light?
As he kind of puts his fingers at where the bullet is, you can kind of, when you're wearing one of those O2 monitors in hospital, you get that kind of red light shining through your finger. It's kind of
Yeah.
that effect. You can kind of see the light shining through your finger. It feels a little warmer to the touch than the area around it, but otherwise all you can feel is kind of the impact where the bullet was and the kind of cool surface to either side.
All right, next question. Can I break off at least a part of a branch and sort of swing, like, at where the top of the glass wall was? I know there's no lip, but like where it stopped, just down at it.
You can definitely try. Make a nature check to find a branch, and then
I'm in a tree.
Oh, I mean a nature check to find a branch that you can break off without falling out of the tree or something similar.
Okay.
Okay,
like, what do you mean, find a branch?
You cannot
Find a
locate
branch
even a
that's
single.
Find a branch that's loose where you can just kind of literally pull it off without having to throw all your weight behind it, because otherwise I would make you roll against falling out of the tree.
Fair.
10 is fine though. You find a branch. It's not the biggest branch, it's not the sturdiest branch, but you reckon it'll serve your purpose.
Yeah.
Improvised attack. I would say roll and add your strength strength modifier.
And
or
you don't have
dexterity.
proficiency with improvised.
No, you don't have proficiency.
19 still.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it kind of, you swing and it looks like empty air, but you're reasonably certain that you know where the surface was a second ago. And you swing and it hits the wall, and you kind of see like a couple of little, they're almost like scuff marks rather than fractures. There's as it impacts, there's kind of chunks of wood fly off the end of the branch, and you can feel like the reverberations vibrate up the branch and into your arms. It doesn't seem to have done massive amounts of damage, but it's definitely hit something in the middle of the air that shouldn't be there.
All right.
Vias is going to cast Shatter on the...
Meanwhile, the people below are kind of now covered in kind of little fragments of tree branch that have kind of shot off the end of this branch as it hit the wall.
Sorry.
Vias is
Suzanne
just
is
gonna...
pissed off, but this does not change the situation.
Vias is going to hold out his hand and his staff, and he's going to cast Shatter on the one on the ground.
You're gonna cast Shatter right now?
Yep, he's gonna do it. Why the fuck not? It's the
Ooh.
only thing.
Okay,
Are we not-
so
Am I misremembering?
no, Shatter does damage.
Okay, so you are stood. Where exactly?
Probably in front of it like a fucking idiot.
You are in range.
Everybody,
Susanna is probably in range.
it's a 10-foot radius, so the only one who
Okay,
might
well-
not be in range is Talia.
For First of all, Vias would have
Nope,
known
you didn't
the
say.
rest
Too
of it,
late.
though.
Too late.
We're all.
He can do a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point within range, so he can do it behind the damn thing.
Yeah.
Just clip it. Erupt
could.
from a point.
Yeah,
near Chase
technically,
within
yes.
range. So he can make it so that it's just on the edge of the pane.
Okay. I did not expect you to try this. I might need a few seconds to figure out exactly how I'm going to make this
Oh
work.
my god.
Without
I've
bouncing it back at everyone.
because I don't know
I-
what to do in this
I
scenario.
also need a bathroom break, so I shall be back in 30 seconds.
I fucked this up. Sorry guys, we're stuck in a weird dimension now.
I'll be right back.
I mean, I'm the one who shot the thing, so we can share the blame on.
Okay, we'll just be the duo that fucks shit up and has
So you know what?
consequences.
I'm pleased because this
What,
means
you
that
mean you
Savannah
want
College.
already?
Hey, you guys are the
See-
ones that got us into this mess. Vias is gonna shatter it and get us out. Easy
Ah!
peasy.
Eh,
Come on, Susanna, we'll get out of here.
that's so debatable.
Listen,
I think we may all die in here quite presently.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know what the hell we're supposed to do in this scenario. There's no clues, nothing. We can't take anything out.
I will
Okay.
also be right back.
Magic because it's not prepared. If we stay here for too long, we're gonna get stuck and die. So
Yeah. No, Vias has the.
his thing is okay. There's a
Wait,
thing that
I
they
thought
meant that
magic
would
didn't
do
work
it.
in these rooms.
It works slowly. At least it did.
Is this going to be
in
a weird,
the,
wimpy version of Shatter?
rock one. Vias did level 2 Shatter.
Yeah,
So
it's also we are currently in the forest, not in the rock one, which means there's a good question we have to ask Amy.
I was almost hoping that it was like a lip in a box and Talia could just climb out onto open air and just be like, "Hi guys, so."
Amy. Yeah, this thing is taking 3d10 thunder damage.
I hope you like fucking know that I really like legitimately imagined like Assassin's Creed 3 through the trees, like.
Yes. Oh my god.
And not just because you've been playing that a lot.
No, but I mean that is currently what I've been playing. To waste time over
Speaking
the summer.
of, are you still having trouble with bullshit?
I last time I checked I wasn't, but that was last night. So listen, the whole game is bullshit. It's badly designed and kind of awful. But I want to finish it for the first time.
Oh god.
I will be back in a hot second.
I want to finish it and then I'm going to start playing Black Flag. Because I played 2 and then now I'm playing 3 and now I need Black Flag.
I've never played it. Oh,
Imagine like just like parkour through the trees.
bless. I mean, I've seen people like. I watched a few people play like Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, but like only the newer ones. So.
Are we back to Assassin's Creed here, I take it?
Yeah.
See, I played the first game and the second game and then got bored and didn't play anything, and then Odyssey came out and they told me I could play as a female main character, and I played that game to death.
Oh god, Odyssey looks so good. I'm watching
Odyssey's-
somebody play it. I'm like, oh.
Odyssey is... If you ignore the bonus DLC and the bullshit story that they threw in for the first one that they released, the game is great.
Mhm.
But the whole, yeah, you can make all your decisions. Oh, whoops, no, you can't. Pissed me and a lot of people off. But hey.
I mean, that's relatable.
Okie doke. So, I would say that the way that we are going to do this is I'm going to make everyone who is within a 10-foot radius of where you are standing roll for the Constitution save, but I'm going to give them +5 to the saving throw.
What's going on again? Sorry, I was.
Yeah, what's going on?
So it's for Ren casting Shatter. For Vias casting Shatter. there is a reason that casting it beyond the wall is not going to work.
Okay, so all of
Which
us are
I
making.
cannot I
Okay,
cannot
well-
explain beforehand. So everyone within 10 feet, which I assume will be
I think everyone
of-
but Talia.
Talia, well, within 10 foot radius of where the point is of the impact. So it will include Lena, it will include Susanna, it will include Vias. I don't know that Vera and Clancy are necessarily within 10 feet.
I
and
think
don't
it'll
know that-
include Diana because she was also going over to investigate.
Yeah, I think Vera and Clancy were stayed a little bit back just because I was running Clancy and I decided.
First of all, Vias moved it back to a point where it would only hit the pane. And why is it?
Yeah, but what Vias is necessarily thinking is happening with what you can see isn't necessarily happening with what is physically there that he can't see.
Well, yeah, but
So there is a reason that I am saying that it will still need people to make the save, but either we can add +5 to people's saving throw, or they can make the saving throw with advantage. I don't mind which one.
okay. I was
For the fact that
curious.
Vias is trying to move it out of their impact range, as it were.
Hey, I'll take saving throw at advantage.
So
Yeah.
saving throws at advantage.
Ah! Yeah, Vias failed.
Saving throw. I think it was just though.
And after this, I'm gonna have to leave too because I have to fucking eat now. God damn it.
Okie doke. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave moderately soonish as well because I'm voting in an hour.
that's fine. I will wrap up soonish because it is midnight for me.
Mhm.
So, 14 points of damage to Vias, who fails the save.
Hooray.
Everyone else takes 7 points of damage. Which I will write down on Lena's sheet in a second.
Neat. Vias is at 14 points now.
And as Vias casts the spell, there is kind of a loud ringing noise, like somebody's just struck a bell right where Vias is stood. And it kind of ripples outwards, and you kind of see the wall in front of you, what looks like it should be an open area of like trees and grass and bushes and forest. It kind of ripples outwards. And the cracks that had started when Susanna fired that bullet at it kind of expand outwards, and they open. And almost like a pane of glass breaking, you can kind of see these cracks form pieces, and these pieces fall to the ground. And as they fall to the ground, you are stood right where you were stood before. Except instead of 3 doors, there is a wall right in front of you. And just to the right of you, there is a gap leading down for a corridor.
There are no doors.
There are no doors at this point.
And it's the corridor that we were.
You can see the corridor behind you that is still kind of covered in fog. And the corridor ahead of you, slightly to the right of you, looks dark and leads on into the darkness.
That we have unlocked a new corridor.
So no doors. There's a foggy corridor and another one, or what? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out.
So it seems as if the doors have disappeared and revealed a corridor in front of you.
Oh, okay, cool.
We have a new corridor. We've got it. We did something, guys.
No more doors. Just corridor.
Corridor.
Should we go through?
And the reason that it bounced back is that you are literally still in this room. So while you might have thought you were casting it beyond this invisible wall in the forest, you were actually still casting it in the room right next to the wall, and basically it was just bouncing back at everyone.
Ah, motherfucker.
Which is the reason I was kind of saying there is a reason for it.
Okay, that works. Are there cracks in the wall now that?
There are not.
Okay. Vias just like holds his head and he's like, "Ow." Well, should we go down the corridor?
Well, since I assume we probably still can't leave.
Yeah, I don't want to try it just in case the doors come back. So maybe we
I-
should go down the foggy corridor.
Is that? I thought we just did it. Did we not just do it? I'm pretty sure we.
Well,
it
the
was an
corridor behind us
illusion, I
is still
think.
filled with fog. This one looks clear though.
Yeah, I mean, we have gone
The
from
un-
4 entrances full of fog to 1 entrance full of fog and 1 entrance not full of fog. So I think that was successful, honestly, compared to everything else we've.
The unconscious guy is still on the floor in the corner.
That rope, is it on the floor still?
It is.
And is it leading into the foggy corridor?
It is not. It is. There is a certain amount of it coiled on the floor, and there is kind of part of it coming away from the coil, leading to your feet, and it kind of looks like you've maybe lost a couple of feet off the end of the rope.
Okay.
Um,
Now has a 40-foot rope.
I'm not going to make you try that.
Keep cut the rope. Slicey slice, motherfucker.
Hey, rope of mending is a thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's a thing we should invest in.
Okay, but
Probably should.
We should
Rope.
invest in some new brains.
do we want to go through the cleared corridor or the foggy one? Because I'm worried if we go through the clear one like we had tried before when the doors were here, the doors will just come back. We'll be shoved back to where we were
Well,
before.
the foggy one is the one that's still how we came in here in the first place, which is the one with the doors come back.
Yeah, okay.
So,
And clearly, if the doors come back, all we have to do is shoot them. Right? Like
Can
putting
I-
a bullet in the problem solved the problem in
Can-
this instance. So we have a solution for that already. So let's try this clear corridor.
Okay.
What else are we going to do?
Vias will give Mercy that caltrop and do the light thing again and send her ahead. If it's dark.
Okay, Okie doke. As Mercy kind of flies down the corridor, you kind of see the light going a certain way, and then it almost seems to pause as if Mercy is hovering in place. And then you get kind of this sense of confusion before Mercy turns around and flies back to you.
Well, there's more weird shit that way. And he holds out his arm for Mercy to hold.
Mm-hmm.
Can Vias
That
take
sounds
the
perfect.
What?
caltrop of light
Not
and,
yet.
like, roll it down the like, throw it down the hall? That corridor?
Yep. Lord, what would you make to throw a caltrop? Make me just a dexterity or strength check, straight up, whichever's better for you.
Probably dexterity. 15.
Okay, you throw it, it bounces maybe 10, 15 feet down the corridor, lighting up what seems to be a corridor leading straight on. You can see it extends on into the darkness beyond the caltrop for maybe 30 feet or so, 40 feet maybe.
Well, Mercy seemed to
Well.
be confused going down this corridor, so I feel like it's going to be the same thing. The last time I tried to go through this corridor using Mercy, she got, we had a sharp headache through the bond. I don't trust it. But maybe
Okay,
we
I
have
really
to-
only caught like every 7th word of that, but
oh god.
a really sharp headache last
Basically,
time she
he's
went down a
saying-
corridor like.
Basically, he's saying Mercy tried to go through a place like this before, and it didn't work out very well because she gave him a headache or whatever.
Only other option really is to go back, and we know
Yeah,
that doesn't work, so...
We're limited on options to only one. We have one option right now, so ladies first.
Yes,
I think
we'll go.
Diana's gonna try and keep pace with Susanna, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Vias
Lena's
will
going to be
probably
kind
do
of hurrying everyone to stay together in a group.
Yeah. Basically, Darna's logic is if there is something waiting, she can put herself between whatever it is and hitting Susanna.
Look, Susanna just wants to shoot more things.
Yeah, Vias will.
She
keep
got a lot of
going.
relief from shooting the wall.
Okie doke. So, heading down the corridor in a slightly frustrated and grumpy group. You walk down the corridor. Are you stopping to pick up the coal trap on the way past, Vias, or are you leaving it where it is?
He should probably pick it up. Somebody will step on it otherwise.
Well, since the two people apparently taking point are the ones without dark vision.
Well, that was my
Because we're
query.
idiots.
Vias
Woohoo! Yeah.
has dark vision, but he can cast light on his staff, so.
Okay, so do Diana or Susanna want to pick it up on the way past?
I think Diana will pick it up on the way past, I think.
Okie doke. So, as you scoop it up and keep walking, and you walk, and considering that this looked like maybe a 40-50 foot long corridor at the most, initially, you walk for several minutes, down an impossibly long corridor, and as you turn around and glance back, it disappears into darkness behind you. And after a few minutes of walking, you enter a room with 3 doors ahead of you. One of which is marked with a symbol of a large fish, one of which is marked with a symbol of 2 medium-sized fish, and one of which is marked with a symbol of 3 small fish.
One fish, red fish.
What type of fish?
And if everyone needs to disappear, that is probably a good place to stop it for tonight.
Yeah.
At this point, Vias is just going to fucking break the doors. Next. He's literally gonna run up and fucking attack them.
Diana has one major concern with the fact that these are showing fish, because that possibly means that whatever service it brings us to, if we go through them, may not be particularly hospitable to people who cannot swim.
Or breathe underwater.
I love the way that
Yeah.
simultaneously between you are overthinking this and underthinking this. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Vias just wants out. He didn't want to go in this room at
Like
all.
some of us are overthinking it, and some of us are underthinking it, or we are all both.
Oh, no. Some of you are underthinking it. Some of you are overthinking.
Also, my concern is that